In the last video, we made something from Resident Evil. Well, today we're going to do something completely opposite. We're going to make something from Animal Crossing. To be specific, we're going to make Reese and Cyrus's Recycling Center, or retail. Let's start off this build with what I usually start off builds with, a template. I made this one out of a cereal box, stolen from my neighbors, because I haven't eaten cereal in like 20 years. Next, I'm using Ready Board for the entire build. I'm placing my template on it right now, and I'm going to trace it out with my magic marker. Then I'm taking the template and turning it backwards so I can trace out the back of the structure. With my sharp X-Acto knife, I cut out the two walls. Then I traced out the two side walls and cut those out too. Nice, all the walls are cut. Now we can assemble it. Once the four walls were secured with hot glue, I made the little shack that connects to retail, which I assume is probably the outhouse? I don't know. Next, I cut a piece for the roof. Now I cut it a little bigger than the structure because I wanted it to hang over a bit. And there you go. The base construction is done. We have our cute little white house. Next, we're gonna throw some boards on it. Okay, for the next few minutes, please enjoy this montage of me gluing boards on this foam house. I hope you guys enjoyed the board action, because I know I did. Next, I'm going to put some siding on this, and I'm going to be using paper, corrugated paper to be exact. What is corrugated paper, you may ask? Well, it's just glorified wrinkled paper. And the reason why I'm using it is because it perfectly resembles sheet metal or siding, the very same siding that retail's covered with. The next thing I did was cover the old little shack, and it had boards on it, but I already used boards for the siding, so I'm going to use paperboard, which is just some of that cereal box I mentioned earlier. I cut it into strips and then stacked them on top of each other. And voila, we have a finished building, but it still needs a window and a door. Let's do the window first. Now I took a garbage piece of plastic I found in my recyclable bin, cut it to the size I wanted, and then I lathered up some tacky glue and glued boards to it. And I had my little window. But Reese and Cyrus, I guess, is worried about being robbed, so we had to make it a barred window. Here's something neat I found the other day at the dollar store, a woodshop birdhouse kit. It's like kind of a kit you put together yourself, like a DIY thing. Sadly, I did not buy this for the birds. Sorry, birds. I bought this because it gives just a treasure trove of boards, thin boards, which are perfect for retail's door, maybe? 9 lovely pieces of wood, but for today's project, we only need this one. The others have to wait for their turn. Okay, retail's door has this adorable little heart-shaped window, and since I'm a sucker for love, I gotta recreate it. So I'm drawing it out with a pencil, just freehanding it, and then I'm gonna cut it out, but I have to warn you, this wood was a lot harder than I thought. It took approximately like 10-15 minutes for me to cut this thing out. It was an ordeal. I'm not going to make you guys watch it, of course, because I'm nice like that. The wood was really hard, but of course, it was no match for my pristine black scissors. Other than carving out the heart, wait, that sounds that sounds bad. Making the heart-shaped window, I just needed to add a little board across there. And the door is done, we can put it in. Next, I'm gonna make Retail's cute little sign. Now, I'm just buttering up some cardstock with some glue right now, tacky glue to be exact. And then I'm gonna put this foam that I shaped into a rough shape of the Retail sign. And then I'm gonna glue it together. And I'm taking some crafting foam, cutting a strip, and then I'm gonna wrap that strip around the sign because I want to cover up the foam underneath. So yes, I'm covering foam with foam. Is that legal? Probably not. For the front of the sign, I'm going to cover it in 1mm balsa wood that I got from China. After trimming off the excess, I'm only momentarily putting it into place. I just want to check the size to see if it was big enough. It was big enough, but I'm not going to glue it just yet, because we're going to need some Mod Podge, baby Mod Podge to be exact. I'm splashing the Mod Podge all over Retail, but specifically on the corrugated paper. Since corrugated paper is made out of paper, it fatigues very easily. So I'm going to lather it all up and protect it with the Mod Podge, because there's going to be a lot of paint going on it, and I don't want it to fall all apart. I'm also Mod Podging the little sign as well. Alright, after I Mod Podged it, it was time to give it a nice primer. I primed it in white because I will be painting it with 50 Shades of Pink. I just primed it with the cheapest spray paint I could find. For painting, I'm going to start with these lovely pinks. The first one is candy pink and the second one is camo pink. Starting with the darker pink, I'm going to paint all the corrugated paper only, because I want to retain some darker pink in the crevices of the corrugated paper, because when I go to dry brush it with the lighter pink, it will give me some nice shadowing effect. I got a sudden urge to paint the door, so that's what I did next. I mixed together a red and a purple to make a purplish reddish color for the door, then painted it with that purplish reddish color. Next, I painted all the trim with the lighter pink, and then I dry brushed it all over the corrugated paper, making sure not to go too deep with it because I didn't want it to cover up all the dark pink underneath. That would be bad. Very bad. I think the paint job came out pretty well. I'm not the best painter out there, but I think I nailed it here, because Retail has a cherry blossom vibe to it, and I would say my paint job nailed that. Next on this painting train, I'm going to paint the roof. I picked out 3 colors. The first one is a beautiful yellow, which is called yellow, and then a beautiful Hatsumiku turquoise, and then finally an aquamarine color. I started with the yellow, painting just the top trim. Here you can really see why I went with a single sheet of foam for the roof, because I knew I could cheat and put trim right under the roof to make it look like a double roof, because for some reason Animal Crossing houses are extra thick in the roof. So I'm painting it yellow, and it's going to take like 1,000 coats of yellow to coat it, so we're just going to leave that for a second and turn to painting the roof. I use the Hatsumiku turquoise on it, and then I use the aquamarine color to dry brush it. And there, roof is done, which means the painting is done. I painted the window with the same yellow as I used for the roof, and then I painted the sign a nice khaki because I wanted to cover up that mac and cheese foam color, and I wanted to match the balsa wood as best I could. Khaki was a pretty close match. Next, I used these acrylic paint markers to write out the letters on Retail sign, which is awesome because then I don't have to use a brush to try to paint these. I don't have a steady enough hand to paint letters, especially this detail. Like the letter R in Retail, it's a little llama. Well, I think it's a llama. Isn't Reese and Cyrus llamas, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're llamas. I'm pretty sure. I'm kind of an Animal Crossing enthusiast. I'm not at all a fake fan. Not me. No way. Wait, what was I talking about again? Oh, right, the markers. Yes, they made it very easy for me to draw out these letters on the sign. Okay, I suddenly felt like making retail a base, so that's what we're gonna do next. Now, I'm gonna use this clipboard, but this clippy bit is gonna get in the way, so it's gotta go. The tool of choice will be my drill. It is probably the fastest way to go and probably the most dangerous. So don some earplugs and your safety glasses, because it's gonna get messy, kids. I'm actually pretty surprised how well that worked out. But anyway, the clippy bit is gone, so we can move on. Now, I'm not going to use the whole piece, I'm just going to cut out a chunk of it, and then put retail on it real quick to see if I cut out the right chunk. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and shave down the corners of the base, because I want it flush with the table. Next, I wanted to make a foundation for retail. Hold on, that's my favorite. There we go. It gets quite hot in this closet I'm in right now. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was going to make a foundation for retail, and I'm just going to use foam, and then I'm going to just trace it out using retail itself, and then I cut it out, and look at that, a instant foundation. Perfect. Okay, back to the base. Now I'm going to put a bunch of junk on this base, so I just first want to protect it with some Mod Podge, so that's what I'm doing here. The concrete base gets the same Mod Podge bath, and after both of them were thoroughly dried from their quick bath, I glued the foundation to the base. Next, I'm going to dress it in homemade modeling paste. This will add a much needed stone texture to the foam. Since my homemade modeling paste suffers from dandruff, I have to seal it with some Mod Podge. I added some black to the Mod Podge to spice things up a bit. Now time to paint this beast. I'll give you a step-by-step instructions how to do it. First, paint your base with the darkest gray you have, then realize that you hate it, and then paint it with a lighter gray, which is much better, and you should have did that in the first place. Shame on you. Next, dry brush it with an even lighter gray to bring out all the highlights and the texture that you worked so hard to create. And then voila, it's done. Now it's time for the part that I have been the most excited about, lawn care. This is a bag of 1mm static grass. I got it with my fancy new static grass applicator. You're probably, well, some of you are probably asking, what is a static grass applicator? I have no idea, but I'm going to use one right now. I'm laying down some crappy Elmer's glue down on my base. I don't know why I used Elmer's glue. It's a mystery. I hate that glue. It's garbage. But I guess it worked for this application, so it wasn't garbage this one time. First, deposit your lovely dark grass into the cup above. Do this with it off, by the way, or you're going to get a nasty shock, like I did. Then turn the grass applicator upside down, making sure to make contact with the base, with the little alligator clip that's connected to the static grass applicator, and then push the button and watch it all fly out. It's quite satisfying, actually, to watch this thing work, and somehow, by power of electricity and science and, I don't know, angels, all the grass stands up in the glue, which is amazing. Make sure to save the little grassies that didn't stick, because you can just pop those right back into the static grass applicator and use them again. After it dried, the lawn came out really nice, but I wanted to add some shrubs in front, so that's what I did next. So everything's about done, so I'm just gonna assemble all the little miscellaneous pieces. I'm starting with the little window. I'm placing that first. Then I'm going to do the little sign. As you can see, I added a little lamp on top of the sign, which I made out of a bead. Then I'm attaching the little smokestack thingy which I made when you guys weren't looking. It's just a garbage foam blob that I carved into a triangle shape and then added a straw to it. I painted it a lovely gunmetal gray to make it resemble metal and not garbage foam blob. Hey guys and gals, thanks for sticking around with me for the whole video. I really appreciate it, and I really had fun with this, and I really hope you had fun. Okay, thank you for watching, and I really enjoyed making something from Animal Crossing. Maybe I'll make something in the future. Who knows? If there's any Animal Crossing fans in attendance and they like this, please hit that like button and maybe the subscribe button, maybe, possibly. It would really help out the channel if you do. Resident Evil fans, don't despair. I will be returning to some Resident Evil builds very soon, so look forward to that. But for now, I have to say my goodbyes. So, goodbye, my treasured children.